Well, the reason I dragged you into this TeamSpeak is I wanted to just get your opinion on my latest interest right now, which is shocking everybody. Everyone's interested in this because everyone loves celebrities. And it's something I can joke around with my fellow workers because they think they're so smart. And that is I started a sublog, as you may or may not have seen, Chris, called EGI, Fakeologist.com. EGI, of course, is Elite Gender Inversion, and this is Unreal's term. I think he coined it, or he lifted it from somewhere, and he thinks it's a more sophisticated way of describing trannies. And I kind of like it.
We're saying that this all came about because Andreas was at a nightclub and got the old switcheroo.
Well, that's what a fakeologist who will go unnamed proposed. I'll let that person reveal themselves if they want, but
order to talk.
Just because it was in Paris, and Paris is sort of a nightclub area. Oh, I hope I didn't reveal too much. Oh, I didn't. No, I didn't reveal because Unreal is in Paris. What am I talking about? So they thought maybe he got burned by the old. What was that movie where that horse face looking woman was a man? Jennifer Garner. Was it Jennifer? I can't remember now. It was won an Academy, I think, 10, 15 years ago. An Oscar. What the heck was it called? Do you remember?
15 years ago?
I can't remember. Anyway. Yeah, so that's the sublog, and basically they're saying that the elites have been fooling around with gender for a long, long time. Very interested in it, and it's sparked my fakeologist interest because the main thing is I'm always fascinated when I'm being fooled and don't even know it. And this is just another one like 9/11 where I would have never thought about this before. And combine that with the fact that there is a transgender agenda going on in the education system that I am getting directly impacted by with my children, and I decided I have to at least look into it and figure out what is going on. So what say you about that, Chris? I always value your opinion here.
I didn't come through on the track 1, 2.
Yeah, I can hear you now. Are you on Wi-Fi?
No.
It just seemed like you were cutting out a bit earlier.
I am hardwired.
You're hardwired? Interesting. Okay.
Hardwired and more. But I wasn't aware of all this stuff sort of recently. I didn't really pay much attention to the whole thing. And I just ran across it on your site and listened to the last couple of audios you did and you guys were talking about it. And I was kind of looking around on the internet, on the YouTube, and there's all these people that are trans. They get I don't know, I guess there's all kinds of different variations. People that got the surgery or they didn't get the surgery or they're doing hormones or they're pre-transitioning. But I wasn't aware of what a massive transformation undergo when they get on the hormones. Just startling. I wasn't really aware of that. Like, and some of them look, of course, like you got females that go to males, and that was some of the more startling transformations where the before and the after is like they're all off and toned and stuff. Like they go to the gym and they get pretty bulky, and what are they taking? I was thinking
some of those girls look more manly than me.
I'm considering taking some steroids or something. If you could get that, I mean, not that I want to look like a darn meathead, but it was like, they got facial hair, they got muscles. It's just, and then look at because when you're doing a search, the naked pictures. Oh, that's just wrong. It looks like a dude, but he's got
between you and I, between you and I, if we're both males, I heard that if we take artificial testosterone, we're going to get into trouble and shrink our balls, and then it'll shut our natural thing down. So we got to figure out a natural way to get things going if we want a thicker beard.
Well, I don't know a whole lot about steroids. I know my brother, when he was younger, he did called a cycle.
He did roids?
And, excuse me?
He did roids?
Yeah. A long time ago when he was younger, came out visit, and he was like after he'd done his cycle and all that. And he wasn't like we both have similar builds, kind of tall, kind of I don't know, like not like not really bulky, but sort of thin, kind of. And he bulked up, but it wasn't like the meatheads in the gym and stuff. If somebody can be taking roids, and then of course there's extremes where people just take that and they it's called stacking, and they take growth hormone, they'll take it's called dianabol, they'll take the testosterone and combine all of those things and really bulk up. But if you want to understand, if you just, I'm pretty sure this is what my brother did. He just supplemented testosterone only, and there's some other thing that you take when you're going off of it, so that your regular production of testosterone kicks back in. So they have that depression state afterwards, because you'll get depressed because you won't be producing your own testosterone. It'll take a while for it to kick back in, but there's some kind of something that you take that kicks back in. Of course, it's got all this stigma around it, but what I gathered is not close to as dangerous as that. Even though I'm not saying that not do it, but it's got all this fear around it, almost like anybody to be terrified of doing such a thing. But then, interesting in this context is like, you got doctors giving shit to kids like they're still developing, and it's like, oh, that's okay. Oh, if you're transitioning to a different gender, oh, by all means, fucking take hormones and everything else. But if you're just some dude that wants to be, because we're testosterone depleted in our modern construct here, from a lot of evidence that's out there of that. At the same time, they want all men to be fearful of testosterone, even though it doesn't stop a lot of guys. So I don't know, maybe it's that reverse psychology where they actually want everybody supplementing hormones on that. I don't know. It's hard to say.
Well,
it's like reverse psychology is weird.
I watched a pretty good movie, documentary style movie. Whether it's true or not, I don't know. I always have to say that about movies, whether it's true or not. It seemed pretty realistic to me. I think it was called Bigger, Badder, Bolder or something. It was about a guy. That. I thought it was really well done, and I'm too chicken to take drugs because I don't know.
Wasn't it a pretty fair treatment of the subject? I mean, I think I watched one and it was pretty even-handed. It sounded reasonable, and it was pretty even-handed. On the extreme, yeah, but then it wasn't making it out to be. See, in the context of this trans stuff, now that I'm thinking about it, is like there's been these bodybuilding communities. I worked as a photo retoucher in San Diego in the 90s, and we'd have female bodybuilders bring in their profile pics and stuff that they use in competition. They they would come there and get retouching done and then print them out. So I'd be retouching these bodybuilders and taking their acne off and shit.
Okay.
Yeah. So I got made aware of all that whole subculture and all that, and it was.
Oh yeah. Well, I knew someone. I was a friend of someone whose sister was a bodybuilder, and I couldn't see one attractive thing about it. I know that obviously they thought it was good. She thought it was good for her body, but just the testosterone just distorts any image of a woman. It's just gross. I can't stand it, but
yeah, it was I was off-putting to me.
I just don't know why anyone would do that to their body. Okay, yeah, you win a competition, but just to build your body up so unnaturally, and like any drug, your body is anything that doesn't belong in your body tries to get rid of any way it can. And when it can't do that any longer, the body just gives up, and then of course strange things happen.
You gotta wonder too, like women taking testosterone, because does it change their whole disposition?
Well, it changes everything, and it changes probably a lot of things that they can't see. And they don't know what's going to happen down the line either, I don't think. Although I think the hormone therapy has been going on for, well, Unreal is revealing it's been going on a long time. We're talking hundreds of years, especially the elite. They got nothing to do. So they're busy gender bending all day long just because they can. They don't have to go out and work a field. You know, As you know, idle hands are the devil's tools.
Yeah.
And when you got nothing to do and nothing but money, I think you're busy doing all kinds of stuff that the average person doesn't have the time or money to do.
Experimenting on themselves and all kinds of...
Well, that's why the average person just can't get their head around it, because they just don't have time to do this nonsense.
Yeah,
and they just can't believe it can be done.
Hard to even comprehend what's going on. And
but now
circles,
that we're telling young people that it's okay to bend whichever way you want, and the other change in society is that socialist medicine, like they have in Canada, they're being pressured to fund these changes. That's when the public has to get interested in it, because if I'm going to change my neighbor's kid from a boy to a girl or a girl to a boy, I think I have a right to speak up if I'm going to have to pay for it. And I will speak up. Getting back to the EGI, the Elite Gender Inversion, Fakeologist.com. What's your take on the elite parading their inversions, however they've done them, in front of us? It's hard not to look twice at the two latest first ladies or first men, in my mind, without seeing the point being made that these people are there's something definitely off about them. Whether or not they've been flipped from male to female is it's still hard to tell. But what's your take on that?
The idea that real high percentage of all celebrities are actually switched, transgendered.
Yeah.
So that you're looking at males that are actually or born female. I saw something, probably Jungle Surfer, that said Donald Trump was born a female.
Yeah, that one I have a hard time with, and I've always had a hard time. I said that to Unreal. I have a hard time seeing the female to male ones. That's harder for me. I'm talking about the top ones. I've watched a couple of YouTubers, admittedly, females take the steroids and switch over to men, and I wouldn't be able to tell. I really couldn't tell at the end of their transformation that they started off female. I just could not, unless they dressed them down or took all their clothes off and just had a good look at their hips and whatnot. But they're hard to tell. I find the other way is a little easier to tell because the male is bigger and wider in a lot of spots, and it's harder to shave all that back to match a female.
Yeah.
But I'm not going with the Donald as a female. I'm not going to do that one. I can't see, and I choose to not believe that one. But I'm talking about Michael or Michelle Obama or Melania. Those ones are easier for me to believe.
Oh yeah, I don't. How do you know for sure? It's just after seeing like you're saying some of those, but then too, you're looking at photographs on the internet.
Yep.
And most of them I'm sure have been touched up. Certainly if it's a celebrity photo, it's been touched up.
Well, I watched a live stream of Melania at the inauguration. They weren't touching up that live stream. I was staring hard at her. I was looking very intently. And there's nothing being touched up in the live stream on the YouTube feed. So,
what indicators are part of her physique that would tell you that that's actually a male?
Well, I'm starting to learn these things. The sloping forehead.
Now, women can't have sloping foreheads.
No, they can. They can.
Okay,
and
so that's not really an indicator, I wouldn't think.
Well, no, you have to take it in its totality, just like when we try and disprove 9/11 and the footage. Everything has to be taken in a totality, and then put all together, and then a judgment made. I don't take one picture and then say the case closed. So yeah, I'm taking it in totality. So there's the sloping forehead, there's the eyebrow ridge, there's the size of the head in relation to width of the head in relation to the shoulders. There's the jawline there, and you just move down the body. And listen, I've seen lots of male-looking women that at least I doubt these people that I've seen in real life had any access to tools to do the inversion, because all that takes time and money, lots of it. Most people just don't even have time. So I doubt local people that I know that are just ugly women, and I've seen some ugly men, right? And then some of them are very on the border between which way they are, other than say so. I think the elites are in a special category because they're paraded in front of us, and therefore, and we're told what we're looking at. Now, obviously, it is implied that the first lady is a lady. We don't have to say it. And I'm just interested in how easily me and the rest of the world are being deceived. And is there a psychological impact on that? Well, when I lust after a man that's dressed up as a woman, does that change my view of what real women look like? Well, I think most real women would say stop looking in those magazines, because these aren't real women in the magazines. You don't see these people walking down the streets, and you really don't see them if they're transgender.
I don't. I really don't know. I don't know what if there's yeah. I don't know. I don't know what would the psychological impact be or what. They're saying that Michelle Obama was and still had the male equipment. People were saying that.
Yep.
Looks sort of a mannish. Just on first appearance, you're thinking, no, that's
man face, man shoulders, man hands, man arm length. And I know there was some more obvious stuff about the way the fold between her legs appeared when she's jumping around with Ellen and whatnot. I guess that's possible that they let it fly by accident. If whatever is holding her man part back gets
so I'm
loose.
thinking that could have some subconscious impact if you're picking up that's registering, but you're not really noticing, but it's still registering, and it's
registering that it's supposed to be a beautiful woman, but really you're looking at a man, and it's certainly changing the way you perceive a beautiful woman, especially if they're doing it in the beauty contest, saying these are beautiful women. No, you're looking at men. So when you go out in the street and start examining what regular women look like, you're not going to really recognize them subconsciously. Of course, we know they're women, but there is some alteration in your view. Just like when you're young and looking at Playboy all day long, you'd have to do a lot of looking in real life to see the people that look like the girls in Playboy. Of course, you'd see 1 out of 100. Maybe you see one in your own school, but the point is, real women pretty much never look like that. It'd be hard to find.
Yeah.
Especially if they're transgender, then they'd really be hard to find. Really not going to see too many women like that walking around you. It's the same way that pornography, if you watch too much of that, is very detrimental. The way that you look at women, the way you might physically relate to women. Because real women don't do that stuff. They don't act like that. They don't act out sexually like that. It's a very distorted view of the human way of being and the human body, for that matter. That's why it's dangerous and not good for your psyche. Unless you're married to a stripper. Good luck, though.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. It's how prevalent it is out there. Because I guess a case could be made for anybody being trans, I guess. I don't know, like, if there's that much of a startling difference between before and after. It's what I've seen. I get the impression that it is certainly not an exact science that you can identify somebody as being, I've heard it said like, someone looks like a female and they have an Adam's apple, then it's a male. Well, then I've heard too, it's like some females that are actually females actually have a noticeable lump there, throat, the Adam's apple.
But again, you got to take the whole package and examine it. Pardon the pun. You got to examine all the different differentiations between male and female. There's lots of them, not just the ones between the legs. There's a lot going on, and women do have levels of testosterone, and lots of people have their hormones just naturally out of whack, whether it's the food they eat. So they might unintentionally have real hormone imbalances.
Right,
and of
because
course,
that occurs. That can occur too as a result of the estrogen mimickers, they say, that's in plastics and different stuff like that. So you got that also as an issue. So I'm just trying to think, okay, how to get it down to some quantifiable set of criteria so that you're looking. But I don't see where that's at as far as people being able to really investigate and really get to a conclusion of if Melania Trump's a man or not. I don't see the real. Where's the real evidence that it's actually a man that's transitioned into a woman? I don't know where it is. Looks like a female. That's why it looks like a female in the fact that you got the breasts, got the hips, and then I found out too that can all be done through the hormones and the surgery. That even the hips. So I wasn't even aware of that.
And the makeup too. Makeup's really important when just altering the face at least. Well, I think the first clue is in the name of the blog, EGI. Start off with the elite. That's one of your first steps. Let's look at the elite. Let's not look at our neighbors necessarily. Let's look at the elite, the people that are put before us. And then we start going down the list of things to look at. That's the elite, our heroes, the celebrities, the top politicians, all the people that are leading us around by the nose. Because the average person doesn't really impact our lives. But obviously, when Trump speaks, he's pretty much the president of the world. And I get annoyed by my fellow Canadians because they're so involved with Trump. And I said, you don't live in the U.S. Why are you so engaged with this man? Yeah, of course he can mess with our trade with the U.S., but he is changing people's moods in our country. Why? It shouldn't happen like that unless you're totally engaged in the media. So that's why, at least Fakeology, from my perspective, is media studies. I need to study the media at all times because it is altering the way people perceive the world. It's, as Scott Adams says, it's changing people's movies that are running in their heads, their movies being their reality. That's why I think it's important. It seems trivial on the surface, but I think it is important.
I'm looking at the photos, and it's
and we have to look at our culture creators. Our cultural creators. I'm fascinated by Unreal's done a really good job of going through our culture creators. For instance, some of these people that are promoting veganism, health. These are the people that influence everyone. Very important people. So who are they and what are they doing to our minds? Are they harming us? They're in many, many walks of life that are used to change our behaviors. And our behavior is altered through the media because that is our reality. The media make the movies that play in our heads every day. They give us our thoughts, give us our goals, tell us what's right, tell us what's wrong, tell us how to live, tell us how to look, tell us how to breathe, tell us how to dress. They tell us everything. They inform us in every way.
Yeah.
Now, if I stopped listening to you and a number of other podcasts, I'm sure I'd regress right back into the mainstream if I just listened to regular media all day. I would regress for sure.
Well, yeah, because it's easy to do, getting all those influences from all different angles and something that you could get exposed to without even trying. Walk into a place and there's a TV blasting, which is very commonplace now. Almost like a mandate went out, like an executive order or something. Like every business in the fucking, excuse me, language, but in the USA needs to put a flat screen TV on the wall. That's everywhere now. It's like you go into a place now, it's gonna have a flat screen TV on the wall, playing some Fox News or CNN or some mainstream media or something.
Yep. Go to your dentist. My
Even in the
dentist,
dentist. Yeah, okay, so.
I tell my dentist, turn that damn thing off. I'm trying to concentrate on my teeth, and I'm watching fake story after fake story, local as well. I can't stand it, and it's noisy too. Affects my concentration.
Yeah, it's trying to get the programming into your brain, Ab. It's trying to wedge it in there.
Yeah.
You have to get the Novocaine in you and just let the info flow, let it flow and wash over you with Novocaine.
Yeah. Yeah. Luckily,
I guess that's why it's in the dentist's office. But am I saying that the dentist is
he's in on it?
In on it? I would guarantee you that he is. Yes, he's fully consciously aware of. No, I'm just kidding. But
yeah,
going to put a chip in your tooth to enhance it. No,
yeah, they don't.
I'm just kidding, but
they don't. They don't need to chip you. We walk around with our chips in our hands. We don't let them go. That problem was solved a long time ago.
I think that pretty much we're like I was talking about. I think we've been like slated. We're slated for takedown, and people like see all this stuff out there. And I talked about that Netflix series they came out with about cannibalism and all that. And you would think maybe even 10, 15 years ago, you would think that won't be a TV show about cannibalism, like a couple living in suburbia and they're killing and eating people. That won't be a show. What are you talking about? But here we are, and there, certainly is, and sure enough, and then.
I won't be watching that. I know you mentioned it. I don't.
Don't even look at the trailer. It's absolutely repugnant. You can't unsee it. It's just.
No, I won't be looking at that.
Yeah, don't. No. So tell people don't even look at it. Maybe read the synopsis of it or something on Wikipedia or whatever. But I regretted watching it. It's like, why did I watch that? It was unnecessary. I didn't need to watch it. It was just. But
anti-human.
On the other hand, what I picked up on was that so they're telling you the story. Oh, okay, this woman is actually a zombie, and I guess zombies they feed on human flesh to survive, and then of course they make the quip or the joke that what do they do in this commercial the trailer like the son says something like. I don't like the name zombie. We got to come up with another name. It's like, it's directly referencing what is it called? Like when somebody identifies as a female but they're actually a male, like that. This identity shifting thing that
fluidity
is being pushed, fluidity or whatever it is. Like, I mean, it doesn't even stop at genders. It's people are saying they're trans species. People are saying like, no, I'm actually a wolf in a human body. I'm really a wolf inside of a human. People are saying that kind of shit. And another troubling thing is like people are, from what I understand, if this is true or not, I don't know, but people have self-identified as vampires and they actually drink human blood regularly. Like they get it from somewhere and they drink it. And I'm not making that up. So, in light of that, with this this program coming out, where it's like, oh, I've identified as a zombie. Let's go kill people and eat them then, because you have to have human meat to survive, Mom. And that's the plot. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. It's like you have this situation now with okay, you have this character, Bradley Manning, and of course he keeps popping up in the news because of the whole WikiLeaks, psyop.
Yeah.
And he's a psyop too, obviously.
Yep.
Of all the damn people to leak something, which would be ultimately a rare thing that somebody gets the gumption to risk.
To leak,
Yeah, and then at the same time, not only is that. You ever heard of the guy that does YouTube, Pockets of the Future is his handle?
Oh, yeah. He's pumping out 3 videos a day. I don't watch his videos, but I listen to them.
He makes some really good observations, I think.
Absolutely. He's another guy that's got a lot of time on his hands. But yeah, every now and then, some of his I listen to the narration, I don't watch it, but it's just really some good quality stuff. Really
He made
good
a good
quality.
point about the Bradley Manning thing. Is like, this doesn't make any sense. Like, you got a guy that's going through this, and he's worked with in social service and stuff, as far as like as a sort of a counselor and stuff. So he said, like, these people that are these gender confused people, it's a lot of inner tumult and everything, and they said these people have like high suicide rates and depression, and they're all screwed up in the head.
Oh yeah,
so it didn't make any sense that this person that's going through this is going to then go and just totally go to these extremes of like, oh, I'm going to risk my job, risk my career, do all this stuff, have this big in prison, and I'm going to get the truth out. It's like that. It doesn't make any sense, to leak something, for him to leak something, and then at the same time, this is this individual that's going through all this problems anyway, and then he's now I'm going to just heap all this trouble on me, and then he goes to prison, and then he transitions in prison. The whole damn thing is just of course, we see it for what it is. And I'm sure that guy does too. It's a complete psychological operation. But the Trump is twittering on the Twitters, and then he's calling Bradley Manning Chelsea Manning. See what I'm saying? So that's like, okay, he's supposed to be the positioning of the old guard, so-called patriarchy, and that's what the right people that identify as right wing or whatever have taken on Trump as their mascot and their representative, but Trump is towing the line with his gender shit, and it's just
he toes the line with 9/11 too, so there's not much difference there.
So this is I see these president, this so-called shift in power and stuff. It's not a shift in power. It's just it of itself is a psychological operation, social engineering program, and that is a big part of it. People hang on every word he says, and he puts out in the Twitter. It's probably not even him tweeting. It doesn't matter. The point is that people latch onto him, and that is sort of a moral guide, for people now. So it's important that people, they draw your attention to this damn wiki. Oh, should he go to jail? Is he guilty of treason? Whatever. That isn't none of that even has any significant bearing on this whole program at all. This is just a plot line that serves this agenda to get serve up this narrative to people about this gender identity crap. And from all appearances, this has taken hold. This has really taken hold where, even in the YouTubers that are uploading videos, they'll say, or people doing podcasts, or some of the podcasts I've listened to that are kind of a anarchist bent or a libertarian bent, listen to occasionally. And anytime Bradley Manning comes up, they're always very, very careful that we don't call Bradley, we call Bradley Chelsea. We call him Chelsea because we want to be politically correct and be sensitive. It's like, you're a total moron. It's not a woman, okay? It's a dude done up like a woman. Unless Bradley Manning was originally born a female and that's switcheroo, double switcheroo or whatever. Who knows? I don't know. But as it's presented, he's a male, and then he's put on a wig and a makeup. It's a dude with a wig and makeup on. He said, well, he went through transitional surgery. It doesn't matter. It's a dude with a wig and a makeup and his pecker cut off. Well, that's what it is in reality. Everybody's serving this agenda, even down at the so-called lower levels of the infosphere, whatever you want to call it. It's just really disturbing. It's like people are afraid to call it for what it is. I don't.
Well,
is that offensive to call Bradley Manning Brad? Is that offensive? Come on, man. Like, dude, that's the name. You're a dude, and you had a dude name. I call you dude name, and you're gonna get mad at me it's like somebody that's hallucinating, thinking that they're somebody that they're not. I would like throw out an example, like if I thought it was Abraham Lincoln, like I'm Abraham, and I'm trying to talk like Abraham Lincoln, and like you're like, well, I go say I'm your coworker, and I show up at work, and I'm done up like Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah.
And like, what?
Hey, apparently
What
the guy
the
that
hell's going on?
played
And I'm like,
Abraham Lincoln did that.
yeah. And then so obviously it stands out, and I'd probably be an object of ridicule. And I'm like, hey, I need to get some kind of help from the government so that people stop making fun of me, getting upset because people keep laughing at me. And they need to, by God, hear the Gettysburg Address because it's important. Abraham Lincoln, and I need to get this out. We'll need to. They need to pay deference to this because I'm for real. I'm Abraham Lincoln. Reincarnate or whatever my mental construct that has constructed this delusion, whatever it operates off of, and people need to recognize that I'm Abe, and I'm honest, Abe. I'm honest. I'm really Abe Lincoln. So you can't doubt.
Hey, Abe, do you sleep in your top hat?
Absolutely. Who would? Yeah. Stay in character
move your head
24/7. But
yeah, that was what was the guy that played that guy in the movie? Was it Daniel Day-Lewis? Apparently, he was after the set shut down, he'd go home with his top hat on and just stay in character, just to enhance the whole performance. Can't remember who it was.
I don't know. But like, imagine that, and then let's say, for instance, okay, I'm self-identified as Abe Lincoln, and then I announce it on the Hoaxbusters call, and then like you have somebody come on and say, "Oh, did you hear about Chris from Oklahoma?" And then Ab's gonna say, "Who are you talking about?" Chris from Oklahoma. It's like, no, I don't know any Chris from Oklahoma. Oh, are you talking about Honest Abe Lincoln?
Honest Abe Chris? From
Abe. No,
who's never
not
been
Chris,
to Wendy's?
Excuse me, Ab, Abe.
Abe.
Like what? Really? That's how ridiculous all this stuff is. It's just that no, you're not Abe Lincoln, but you need like some kind of counseling or something. You need to get this sorted out, man. Nobody would go along with it. No, nobody would go along with it. But this is on the same level. Like somebody's saying that they're a woman trapped in a man's body. There's no such a thing, man. No such a thing. Now there's people that are confused and messed up in the head. That's a real thing,
and rightly so from the media.
Yeah. But see, what is this about too? Because it's beyond just gender. It's beyond that. It's a departure from reality. It's a really troubling departure from reality that I don't think this can be regulated to. I mean, as salacious as it is and fascinating and titillating as it is, because it's gender and it's sex related, and we are just absolutely completely sex obsessed in this country, just completely ate up with sex and stuff. What's interesting too, I've heard this, that in reality, people are having less sex than ever. That's all they talk about is sex, and they're obsessed, and they're watching it, and they're doing porn. But in reality, people are having less sex than ever. That's what I heard. I don't know where that came from.
Especially married people.
Where they got it. Among married people.
Especially married people.
Well, that makes sense because it's a depopulation agenda, and it's but yeah, you want to make as many people dysfunctional as you possibly can, and that seems to have succeeded based on all this demand for Viagra, which is probably a psychological issue that's probably, from all this exposure to all this eye candy that's everywhere, so that like somebody is so pummeled by all that they can't get aroused from their wife because they can't get aroused realms.
And they can't get aroused from their wife because they've been looking at pretty men all day long. That is I think that is a real effect. You're looking at transgender. You're looking at a man, and I think you're looking at a man half the time.
Now this one here, I mean, I got some up on my screen. I shouldn't be looking at. transitionals. This individual here has like total hourglass figure, and the hips are like way out, and they're telling me this is a man. What the hell is going on? How did that happen?
I hope Scarlett Johansson's not a man, because I really have to admit I'm ogled at her. At her last.
I don't see the appeal of Scarlett Johansson. To me, mildly attractive. I think she's attractive, but
she had boyish good looks at the march on J21.
Yeah, if she was like my neighbor or something, I would probably regard her as hot, and but then like as a representation of, I've heard a lot guys say that, like Scarlett Johansson is so hot, and I was like, I don't know. I don't see it.
We're told she's hot. See, when they tell you what's hot and what's not, it's more psychological programming. So if I'm told by People magazine every week that this is the most beautiful woman in the world, well, it's hard to argue with an authority figure, which is the magazine.
But
they must
Portman,
know, right?
I think is probably one of the hottest celebrities that I know of.
And her name, as Unreal would say, is that they ported a man to a woman. Portman.
No way. Now, if that's the case, if Natalie Portman is actually a man, then all bets are off. Then I'm done with the subject. I'm not going to talk about it because there's just no way.
No way. All right.
No,
I don't even know what she looks like. I know she's been brought up though, but I haven't had a good look at her. Are you saying your trans investigation ends if she's really a man?
Yeah, it's game over. I mean, to me, I'm just like, I don't know. But, yeah, I don't know. I can't figure out why, people aren't on the same page that she's the hottest celebrity out there. That needs to be, settled.
I don't know if you're being sarcastic or
way
not.
Better looking. But she's obviously better looking than Scarlett Johansson.
Well, I don't know if you're being sarcastic because I have to pull her up on my phone to see what she looks like, because I always thought she had boyish good looks, but I don't know if I'm remembering the same person.
She looks a lot like Audrey Hepburn, which
I know. What about Jane Mansfield? Mansfield.
Blonde.
And did Farrah have a faucet?
Oh, don't even say that. Okay.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Farrah Fawcett, no way.
She was stuck to a lot of walls.
Farrah Fawcett.
It's quite a jawline.
Could have been a dude.
And you know how they ended her persona? They ended her by ending her in the end, as in anal cancer.
Oh, really? Did they have the boob jobs back then to make?
Oh, come on! They've been boob and jobbing forever since women have been wanted a different look.
I thought that was a fairly recent development with.
Maybe for the average person. Maybe for the average person, it's become more accessible.
Yeah, maybe.
We're talking about our most highly promoted people. Anything's possible. Going back 100 years. I'm looking at now the iconic Farrah Fawcett poster, the most iconic pinup of the 70s. They've been accentuated the nipple shot. They distract you enough, get you looking in all the wrong places. Sandra Bullock ever bothered you? She's always bothered me, and I had no idea why, but now I have a better understanding of why it's possible.
It's not a dude. I don't think there's any way that a dude can end up listen to her voice. It's not.
Well, I think the voice is one of the easiest things. I think the voice is one of the easiest things to alter.
I've seen that deal where people train their voice so they can sound just like a woman.
No, but I think the hormones have a lot. They screw things a lot. Her voice almost sounds like a vibrato. I found her voice odd. I think that's part of my initial problem with looking and listening to her.
Audrey Hepburn is smoking hot back in the day. Totally smoking hot. I
have a good look at Farrah Fawcett towards the end. I think they have difficulty hiding transgender over a certain age. Things become more obvious.
I don't.
Punch in last photos of Jane Russell.
Last photos.
Tell me you're not looking at a man.
Yeah. 89.
Yep.
Those are fake boobs, is what you're saying. 1950s fake boobs.
Yeah, I think so. That's the least of clues, really.